Million Americans are not garbage.
Well, how about that, folks? The most legendary trolling in American history, presidential certainly, came from the Trump campaign yesterday in the form of, well, let's call it garbage. Nothing but joy in this Trump campaign. Let me tell you, whereas there's zero level of joy left in Kamala Harris's campaign, as Kamala yawns her way through tried, tested, and failed answers to just about every single question, President Donald Trump is relaxed and having the time of his life on the way to the White House. Joe Biden thinks all of Trump's supporters are garbage. So, what's number 45's answer? Obviously, saw it coming, didn't you? Become the garbage man. And President Trump and Vivek Ramaswamy did just that.
All right. Let's do it, man. I got it.
You got it?
Yeah. Tell me, what are we doing here?
Right up to the left.
Okay. Right up to here.
Up, turn around. Pretty much right there. Always lift the lid open.
Wait, is it on?
Yeah.
All right, sweet. Lift open. And then what are we doing?
Pull them both out.
Pull them both out. Doing it right? Pull this one back too, or are you good?
Yeah, you're good right now.
Sweet.
Wait, all the way up.
Pretty good machinery, actually.
The guy who raises billions upon billions of dollars doing garbage. No vitriol there, folks. No seething, just calm and classy humor in the face of Biden's brazen insults. This will go down in history. President Reagan knew how to tell a joke. He had comedic timing, so does Trump. People used to complain that Reagan told too many jokes. Let me tell you something. There's a smile right now, 6 feet under in Simi Valley, California, at the Reagan Presidential Library, where Reagan is buried. This is trolling to the next level. Clearly, Trump wasn't going to let Joe Biden insult more than half the country without a response. And let me tell you, folks, Trump 100, Biden 0. Not even a contest. This man got picked up after landing in Green Bay. Donald Trump in Green Bay, Wisconsin, lands Trump Force One for the latest rally. He gets picked up by a garbage truck. CNN had to break away from their programming just like an SNL skit, and you just can't make it up.
Interrupt you for a moment. Stand by for a moment. Trump is answering some questions from reporters.
Joe Biden to make that statement, it's really a disgrace.
Questions from the garbage truck. It's brilliant with that reflective vest. Well, you saw that and you knew this was going to be good, and boy, was it ever. He not only became the garbage man for the day, but he took his new persona all the way to that rally stage.
And then I got in the car and I'm driving over here and I have this still on. And I come into the arena and I say, "Where's my jacket? I want to get out of this stage." And they said, "It would be unbelievable if you could wear it on stage." I said, "No way." I got 25,000 people standing outside. I got all these people here. There's no way I'm wearing it on stage. They said, "Oh, okay, sir." I said, "Get me my jacket." But if you did, you know, it actually makes you look thinner. I said, "Oh." And they got me. I said, "I want to wear it on stage."
And do you see that? This is what I've been talking about for years. Trump is funny. He doesn't even try to be funny. He's funny. So he talks about the story how his handlers are telling him to leave the vest on, not your jacket, from the suit. And he's like, no way. And he's like, and then the crowd roars and he kind of sees the crowd. He took that energy of that crowd and delivered another joke. "Sir, it makes you look thinner." And he's funny. The guy just, I don't know if he's just a brilliant comedian or you can't even write scripts like that. But instead, of course, on the left, instead of acknowledging the moment for what it really was, An obviously salty Norah O'Donnell, fresh off leading her show last week, some fake story. She had led her evening newscast with a fake story, but you can tell how salty Norah O'Donnell was about this whole fiasco. Watch.
We are now 6 days out from Election Day. Nearly 60 million votes have already been cast in early in-person voting and through the mail. And the latest polls suggest the race could not be tighter. Both campaigns are locking their focus on the battleground states. Vice President Kamala Harris rallied in North Carolina and Pennsylvania today and is in Wisconsin tonight. Former President Donald Trump was in North Carolina earlier and tonight is also in Wisconsin. He landed in Green Bay just a short time ago and then pulled this campaign stunt, speaking to reporters from a garbage truck, proof that he and his supporters are giving no grace to a gaffe by President Biden, where he, in his explanation, inadvertently called Trump supporters garbage. This, of course, was in response to that racist joke about floating garbage told at a Trump rally just last weekend.
Campaign stunt, giving no grace. The media hasn't given grace to Trump in 8 years. Let me just say it again. You folks don't hate the mainstream media enough. Meanwhile, the garbage peddler in chief is biting babies. Biting babies. Hey, Nora, nothing to say about that? Not to be outdone, however, CNN in full-blown meltdown mode. Watch.
In Green Bay for us. Kristen, what's your analysis based on what we just heard from Trump?
My analysis is exactly what we talked about before. They are trying to milk this for every single drop that they can. They want this to turn into what happened in 2016 when Hillary Clinton said that Trump supporters were a basket of deplorables. I cannot stress enough how we have spent the last 3 days, which has been reiterating, going over these racist, vile remarks that we heard in the pre-programming leading up to Donald Trump taking the stage. We have talked about how Puerto Ricans have been pulling back from Donald Trump, how they have been calling for him to issue an apology, how he has not condemned those remarks in any way. Now he has flipped the script. He is trying to change the narrative, and he is trying to latch on to these garbage comments to try to drive people out to polling places so that they cast their ballots and get everyone who was already somewhat interested in him more energized in getting to the polls.
All right, Kristen, stand by. We'll get back to you, and we'll take a quick...
Do you hear that? They said Trump's milking this for every single drop. Are you kidding me? It was the night as a day after, 36 hours after Biden made that stupid comment. Every single drop, changing the narrative. Folks, you don't hate the mainstream media enough.
Kelly, first to you. Tell us about this apostrophe.
Well, I've had one my whole life, and it has never been more powerful than in a moment like this, where what they are trying to say is that the president was referring to the demonization being garbage from one prominent supporter, the comedian who appeared at the Madison Square Garden event for Donald Trump. If you look at about a minute's worth of the remarks from President Biden when he was speaking to Latino groups last night, that context appears more clear. Also, it's important to know that the president always has that battle against stuttering, and that seemed to be apparent in this as well. And clearly, this is a verbal gaffe that is problematic politically. The question for voters to decide is the president's intent here to somehow say something critical about supporters of President Trump, or was it about the supporters that we know exist, this comedian and others?
Really, Kelly O'Donnell? Really? Really? Folks, you decide for yourself, she says, while blaming what Joe Biden said on a stutter or yet again some apostrophe bullshit. Oh, and by the way, the guy who made the joke about the Puerto Rico, well, we've been going on and on about this for 3 days, have you not, on the left? Let's go back to that. But decide for yourself, and remember, they're saying he didn't mean to insult Trump voters for sure, and the Trump campaign is really milking this non-moment that doesn't really matter at all. So decide for yourself, okay? Guys, he said what he said. No stutter or apostrophe involved. Quote, the only garbage I see out there is his supporters, Biden said.
Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware, they're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters. His demonization is seen as unconscionable, and it's un-American.
I don't think there's any question about what he said. These people on CNN, ABC, CBS, MSNBC, all of these anchors, these reporters, so-called journalists, milk the Russia collusion story. Now fully debunked, by the way. They milk that over and over and over again. Russia. Don't tell us Trump voters about milking. In 2016, Hillary Clinton called all of us deplorables. That's a fact. And she lost for it. And now Joe Biden thinks we're all extremists and garbage. Also fact. And yet Kamala Harris would still have you believe that she likes all Americans.
You are promising to bring people together, even people you disagree with. You say, well, have a seat at the table. How do you convince Trump supporters of that, though, when you're calling their candidate a would-be dictator, a petty tyrant?
I am talking to everyone as an American.
Talking to all people. Just say it, Kamala. Just say it. Here, let me do it with you. Say this. I, Kamala Harris, loudly and proudly do not believe that Trump supporters are garbage. I love America. I love all Americans, no matter who they vote for. Whatever that old geriatric ice cream eating deranged America killing lunatic says, that's just not how I feel. I heard what he said. He said it. It wasn't about what I think or an apostrophe or a stutter for that matter or whatever else they're saying. America, listen to me. I love you all. Well, she can't say that. Can you imagine if she did say that? Those aren't her marching orders from high above, right, Barack? Because they don't love you. Trump voters, conservatives, right of center people, they hate you. And if Kamala Harris actually uttered any of those words I just said, she would actually light up in flames. They'd blow her up. They'd cart her out. She'd be lost forever, found in some remote location at the bottom of an ocean, because now's not the time to unify. It never was for the Democrats, but now's the time to try and steal an election with the dutiful help of the leftist media and very, very willing Hollywood.
If you can't vote early, vote on time. If you want to vote for Trump, vote late, vote very late. Do your voting on Thursday or maybe Friday.
Yuck, right? But the guy is literally telling Trump voters to vote after the election. Election interference, no apostrophes, no stutters, loud and clear from Jimmy Kimmel. There's a clear-cut goal on the part of the leftist machine, and they let it slip out every once in a while, now and then. Like when the Supreme Court rightfully let the state of Virginia continue to remove non-citizens from their voting rolls. Something, get this, this blows me away all week it has. Something the Biden Department of Justice fought against. Think about that. Biden's Department of Justice fought against Virginia pulling off illegals, non-citizens from their voting rolls. They fought it. And CNN actually made a stunning admission. You have to see it to believe it.
Now, this is a bit of a surprise because the trial court and the appellate court sided with the Biden administration that objected to this purge, saying that the state cannot, under federal law, remove large groups of people from the voter rolls within 90 days of an election, though there is nothing stopping them from investigating individual voters and removing them from the voter rolls. Now, former President Trump has seized on this issue in Virginia, as have other Republicans, as a way that they should be able to remove suspected non-citizens, calling it sort of a common sense move. And here, a court divided across partisan lines, siding with Republicans. Now, Governor Youngkin, who is implementing or attempting to implement this program, he has issued a statement saying, quote, "This is a victory for common sense and election fairness."
So they admit it. Did you hear that? They admit it's a win for Republicans because Democrats are trying to steal votes by adding non-citizens to voter rolls. About right? Got that about right? I do believe I am getting that right. Just repeating what she's saying. You see, everywhere there are little glimpses. Everywhere there are moments in time when you say to yourself, are they really showing us exactly who they are and what they're up to? Like when an ABC affiliate in Scranton does a test run for election night during live programming, accidentally showing Kamala Harris as the winner of the election. Folks, see that at the bottom? So they're claiming to say it was a mistake. They were just testing a graphic, but someone had to plug those numbers into the graphic, and that graphic had Kamala Harris beating Trump. Now, if you're just testing a graphic, Scranton ABC affiliate, make it 50 million to 50 million and one. Make it an even 50 million even to both of them. Don't have one winning. Because you're not testing a graphic. You're showing your bias. They're showing you exactly who they are and what they're thinking. And no, there's no apostrophe. And this isn't about anyone stuttering. Stutters don't make you say words by accident. 50 years for Biden of being a racist, hateful, and corrupt politician makes you say words you actually mean. Did a stutter create the catastrophe that is the withdrawal from Afghanistan? Did an apostrophe trigger the most irresponsible socialist spending spree in the last 50 years? Did a stutter cause Joe Biden to look down at his watch at the funeral services, the dignified transfer of 13 young servicemen and women as they're being transferred in caskets, draped coffins out of an Air Force One plane? He's looking at his watch like he's got something freaking better to do. Did a stutter or apostrophe create massive inflation, skyrocketing energy prices, rampant crime, boys and girls bathrooms in high school, gender-affirming care for kids, and the precipice of World War III? No. Doesn't matter, says the Washington Post, clearly ignoring owner Jeff Bezos in the call for less bias. It doesn't actually come down to an apostrophe. It comes down to Americans who are counting down 5 days, 12 hours from now, when stutters and condescending grammar lessons will no longer matter. Enough of the gaslighting, Democrats. He said what he said, and he meant what he said. The difference is, and it's a massive difference, what Joe Biden said wasn't comedy. It wasn't part of a stand-up bit. Joe Biden said what he said in an honest moment, a rare moment of clarity, I'm sure. Joe woke up from his fifth nap of the day, and right before his sixth one, he called tens of millions of Americans garbage. Democrat policy lives and dies on personal attacks, and this time, it dies. Take any segment of the population, any of them, that opposes them, and they have a script intended to wound or metaphorically kill them. To them, there can be no other views or opinions, just theirs. To them, anyone who opposes them is simply garbage. This is revealed in their hate of mankind, egregious personal attacks on Trump, accusing others of foul deeds for what they did or planned to do, and by making a complete mess of every single thing they touch. But all they can do in a moment like this is to forego any of that, forget how bad they've really messed up for the past 4 years, forget the garbage thing, but instead remember their false version of January 6th.
The hypocrisy, Mika, over a misstatement by Joe Biden, which he quickly corrected, is so laughable, because this guy does this every day. And then you turn on Fox News and go, oh, how could anybody do this? I've never seen this before from a president. Despite the fact, one of the people saying that yesterday on Fox News stood by while Donald Trump watched violence erupt on January the 6th and kept allowing violence to erupt on January the 6th, and said the people that were beating the hell out of cops were patriots. So yes, Willie, the gaslighting never ends. They really do think that their voters are that stupid. And it makes me sad for those voters that Donald Trump and people on TV, on other channels, really think Americans are that dumb.
No Morning Joe, no Mika, no Willie. No, that's the very point. Trump voters are not that dumb. We're not that dumb at all. And we're not garbage, and we're not dumb, but very clearly you think that we are, and they are. Folks, you don't hate Joe, Mika, Willie, and the mainstream media enough. But let me tell you something. They hate you enough. They hate you plenty. All right, here it is. That time again, rapid reactions, where I lay into every headline that the corrupt, massive, mega corrupt media doesn't want you to see. The final swing of the Biden presidency has been interesting, to say the least. Old Joe has tried to make some legacy moves by doubling down on certain policies and even giving a couple of speeches. But after the week that this guy has had, I wouldn't be surprised if the Democrats ship him off to Rehoboth Beach on that lounge chair until his term is over. Besides, it's not like he'll know the difference anyway, is it? Last night, the Kamala campaign, took Sleepy Joe out of bed, changed him out of his pajamas, likely drubbed him up just a bit, and forced him to be social. Take a look at how that went. Look at that. What's going on here? I don't even know what to say about this guy at this point. This is how he follows up the instantly infamous garbage comments. He bit a kid. He bit a child. Just look at that image for a second. The man was actually elected to serve as our president. Bit the kid. I think the kid was a chicken, so maybe he thought he was eating fried chicken or something. We've heard so very little from Joe Biden in 2024. Many have asked if he's even running the country anymore. He's absolutely cooked, folks. Just look at how he enters a party at the White House. This was moments before he started biting children. Well, there he is, our disoriented president, walking out with, wait for it, look at that, a freaking panda, guys. A freaking panda. You know what the panda is a symbol of? China. Panda's a Chinese symbol. It's like their national animal. How un-American can that be? I'm sure Tampon Tim was thrilled to see Biden tip his cap to China on Halloween. Everybody knows that pandas are one of the CCP's most favorite and most prized sacred animals. Newsflash, Joey. Here in America, we do eagles, not pandas. Fortunately, Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have brought shame to the White House. We've seen drag shows, topless transgender freaks on the White House lawn, and now pandas and biting children. Of course, it never had to be this way, does it? Does anyone remember how Trump and Melania handled Halloween at the White House? Look at that. A little different scene there, right? Look how classy. I mean, Melania's elegance. Trump is just presidential. The day was about kids, as it should be. Quite a difference. All right, let's move off the Biden-Harris Halloween shit show. I want you all to hear something amazing that Slick Willie Clinton, I don't know, decided to say.
I don't think it's right to say that people have to vote for Donald Trump because the economy is better there. I don't believe that.
Ruh-roh. You hear that? Hillary ain't going to like that too much. Neither is Kamala. And Barack Obama's going to fire you, Bill. Looks like Bill is going to be sleeping on the couch for a few weeks, of course. I'm sure he knows what that's all about. So is that Kamala Harris fully plans to roll out Bidenomics 2.0 if somehow she sneaks out a win in the election? Is that what they were trying to say? The same policies that murdered our economy and have financially crippled most Americans. Not even a Clinton wants 4 more years of that. Certainly not the younger Clintons, the grandchildren. Fortunately, many think this run of tyranny is nearing its end. Now, listen to Frank Luntz, worst toupee in history, on CNN.
Because it reminds me so much of 2016, and I think there are a lot of similarities right now between this campaign and that campaign. The divisions in the country were significant back then. People didn't think Trump had a chance back then. He's been gaining and gaining. The momentum is clearly, in what I see and what I hear, is in his favor.
So momentum is a big deal. All the momentum is in Trump's favor right now. Remember when the Dems did their unconstitutional switcheroo at the top of the ticket, when they told all of those primary voters to take a hike and slid Kamala Harris right into Joe's place? Do you remember? All remember how instantly rejuvenated the Democratic Party was. They raised $500 million in a month. They knew Joe was in for an historic beatdown, but when they swapped in Kamala, immediately the party had a little bit of life, a little pep in their step again. That's called momentum. Fortunately for us, that momentum has since died, and Kamala's chances decrease every single time she opens her mouth. But as the worst toupee in history, Frank Luntz, said, Trump is heating up at the right time. And the Democrats, well, they're doing the exact opposite.
His comments seemingly describing Trump supporters as, quote, garbage. The Harris campaign is trying to downplay the effect of those comments. Of course they are. But I wonder if you think that those comments are going to move voters.
It's going to be huge because this is not some comedian saying something stupid and offensive at a rally where he should have been basically disinvited. This is the president of the United States endorsing his vice president, and I've watched Trump already seize this. The basket of deplorables was significant, was meaningful in 2016. In 2024, I can promise you that this is going to drive Trump turnout. He's doing it already. I can see, I'm sure there's going to be ads on as soon as tonight about this. This may be a turning point for those final 3%, and that's all it is.
Little story about Frank Luntz. I call him the worst toupee in history because in 2016, Frank Luntz was all about Marco Rubio. All about Marco Rubio. Frank Luntz did these little focus groups, and I remember I was in Iowa for, I guess it was the primaries, and Frank Luntz had a group of table, about 20 people at a table, and he was talking, and it's like, I walked by and go, let me guess, 20 hands for Marco Rubio. Frank got really pissed off at me. He won't talk to me since. But the point is, he's not a big Trump lover. For him to say that's far and wide. That's a good sign when Frank, the worst toupee in history, Luntz, is telling you that Trump is likely going to win the election. Newsflash, folks, you can't call half the country garbage and then expect to win an election. Past few days may go down as Joe Biden's greatest contribution to America. His party should just left him on the beach because he may have actually just swung the election simply by being Joe. Alrighty, folks. While Trump was, listen, this is a truth bomb here, right? So let me show you two different scenarios from yesterday. And I think this is all you really need to know about these two candidates. This is a metaphor for the 2024 election. First, you have Donald Trump with the garbage truck, right? So we got that going on. Let's put a little video of that up there. Oh, you have Trump up there? There you go, Trump. Okay, so now he goes from the McDonald's worker to the garbage truck. How much more relatable is that? That guy right there serving French fries at McDonald's to a garbage truck the following week. And on the other side, you had Beyonce last week who screwed the people in Houston by not singing, just coming out for a 3-minute conversation. And then last night, while Trump was doing his speech with the garbage truck in his rally, Kamala was playing footsie with celebrities with the band Mumford & Sons. So Kamala is introducing celebrities and musicians while Trump is cleaning up garbage. The band once, by the way, exiled their lead singer for not getting vaccinated. They threw him out. Talk about a tale of two candidates. The truth is that we're going to have exactly that. We have two exact opposite candidates. One candidate, a clear-cut patriot, an American through and through, standing with the working class people and his supporters who get attacked by the left. The other, a deranged lunatic who cares only about herself and those who line her pockets. Someone whose rallies are basically just concerts because she doesn't have anything of substance to say. Finally, before we leave LA, Los Angeles is descending into an absolute chaos city, even more so after the Dodgers win the World Series. Look, they riot when they win. They riot when they lose. What's this place going to look like after the election when Donald Trump wins? With just 5 days left until that election, make sure you're subscribing to this show. Make sure you subscribe. See that see that right there? You can aim your camera at that. Just go ahead, aim your camera right at that QR code, and that'll take you to wherever you want to be, where you can subscribe to, whether it's a podcast, YouTube, Rumble, wherever you want to go. Just put your camera on that right there and subscribe to all of them. We'd love you if you do that. Also, you can call us 888-601-0032. I know I've been promising some voicemails. We will get that to you maybe tomorrow, maybe on Friday. Probably do some voicemails on Friday. All right, folks, 888-601-0032. That's it for us today. Bolling out.